Hey folks, welcome to Market Intraday Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leaders in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. Today, Tuesday, August 4th, 2009. Well, we're seeing a little bit of a neutral-ish day on Wall Street today as we go into the charts. What you're seeing really is continuation on the upside based on light volume and a little bit of weakness in the dollar. We'll talk about the dollar as it's kind of floated to the neutral to slightly downside. We know that the last few days the dollar's gotten crushed. That's given rise to oil and commodities. Commodities have taken this market up with a vengeance, and ultimately you're seeing this market trading near the highs of the day now, just slightly to the positive side. The S&P 500 up 3.5 points, Dow up 25, and the NASDAQ trading up 5. So a slight bit positive bias, but I do have a trend line that you can see right here is working to the advantage of those out there that are into our charts. You guys that are premium subscribers, you know the levels. We talked about this exact level last night in the charts, in the analysis video. Those in the chat rooms nailing this one perfectly as well. You can see how you're coming right up into a good little bit of resistance right up here around that 1085, 1080 level. And then you also have a channel. If you take your line and draw it right from this high pivot to this secondary high pivot yesterday, this line is getting hit right here and got hit right here. And then notice the pullback right here on the chart. So these lines working unbelievably well today to dictate where this market's going. Now, initially what happened today, you had a minor gap down in the markets as the markets gapped lower. But almost immediately, oil got a little bit of a bid as the dollar was a little bit on the weaker side and a little bit of optimism took over. And the volume, as soon as it started to lighten up, which was right around 10:30, notice right here the volume starts to get light, and it's been like the rest of the day. Notice how the whipsaw happened early on the heavier volume where you went down, up, down, and then as soon as that volume gets lighter here at 10:30 for the rest of the day, you've just been floating up the rest of the day. And that's really the bottom line, folks. When there's no volume, and by the way, August is really the lightest volume month of the year in general. It'll pick up again in September, but light volume always dictates that you have a positive bias, small positive bias in the markets on light volume. Now, we have to watch very carefully to see how the dollar trades later today. The dollar is really the driving force behind any rally in this market. All right, a lot of people can talk about earnings, a lot of people can talk about economic news, but bottom line is, if you match up the chart of the dollar based off of the chart of the S&P, you will see that the dollar bottomed in March, at the beginning of March, when the markets bottomed. And as soon as the dollar started to fall from March, and I can show you that chart beautifully right here, and I think it's a fantastic chart to show. If you go to your dollar, all right, let's go back to that time frame. If we go back all the way back here, and again, we have to go back quite a ways on the UUP. Here's your high on the UUP right here all the way up. And by the way, the UUP is the dollar index, but the high here is near $27. Right now, the UUP is trading at $23. All right, down 3 pennies on the day, as I mentioned. A little bit of weakness today in the dollar contributing to upside. But here it is. This is the high. And again, you can see the fall all the way down here, and then it goes sideways, and then continues to fall all the way down, actually coming out of my view, and I have to move the charts down a little bit, all the way down here. That's the UUP. Now look at the SPY on the daily. Check this out. All right, if we go all the way back, that same time frame, guys, early March, when the markets bottomed, that was because the dollar topped out, and you've had this move from really 66, 67 on the SPY now to over 100 on the SPY, and that's the S&P basically mirroring the the ETF for the SPY, the tracking for the S&P there on that chart. But in any case, I just wanted to point that out because the dollar is really a contributing factor in the reason. It's what we call a reinflation rally, and you have to understand that. And a couple things I want to go over here. Obviously, the key levels. Notice how you came right up into this 1080, 1085 level. That's where the top was in the market so far, and we're pulling back a little bit off of it. Also, notice how you connect these lines and you get it. Now, you do have good support. If we were to fall down a little more this afternoon, you have good support at around 100 spot 50. Right here, you also have the 20 moving average there. Below that, you have the 50 moving average at 100 spot 25. Then below that, you have the bottom of this channel. Notice the channel, guys. This line connected through here. This bottom line connected through the low point today gives you a parallel lines, and it does seem the market's trading between there. You can see it goes up, touches, pulls back, goes up, touches, then pulls back to the bottom area. Now we're back to the top area. And watch this channel very closely in the afternoon trading and tomorrow, because I think this could be a good discovery. Now, if we break out above it and we confirm that move, then that's one thing. That could happen later if volume continues to be very light. We'll have to watch and see exactly what does play out here. But very, very important to notice these parallel lines, because oftentimes markets will stay in between them, and you can use it as shorting at the highs of the channel and buying at the lows. And that's really how you can play this off and really maneuver yourself to make the maximum amount of money you can from a market in a range. And this would be considered a range right here, slanted to the upside range, but up, down kind of thing going on. Now again, resistance right up here, 1080 to 1085. You can pull back to the 20 moving average at 100 spot 50, then the 50 moving average at 100 and a quarter, and then ultimately the lower range, which right now is sitting at 100, but that'll continue to move up throughout the day. If you get through that, then you do have a little bit more support at around 99.80 or so. That was the lows of today. Very, very important level there, that 99.80 to 99.85 level that we talked about. So please watch this very, very carefully for the rest of the day. Now, I can't stress enough, all this kind of information is disseminated before it happens in the research center. It all comes out there. We laid it out all last night, calling the targets for this market at 1085, guys. Guess where we just hit? 1085. That was a dead-on call from yesterday. We've talked about oil. Oil's also made some bullish calls, bearish calls on oil recently, and each one playing out nicely. We're going to talk about our angle in tonight's video on where this oil trade is going. You got to watch this oil because it is setting up for a decent move. The question is it consolidating here to move up or getting ready to fall back? A lot will depend on the dollar, as we know. Gold is discussed. Key stocks are discussed. Also, hidden gems got put out yesterday, new hidden gems. The previous hidden gems have gone as much as 100% over the last 3 months or so in a couple stocks of the hidden gems that we put out. Fantastic movers there, and the new hidden gem is doing pretty well as well, if I do say so. Very, very nice little uptick since I posted it yesterday on Sunday. And again, these are hidden gems, small caps that look to be extremely undervalued and kind of mistaken and not seen by the markets. The other few things to mention, folks: Pro Trader watch list, hot charts and alerts, daily market report, technical tactic educational videos, all included in that research center. So we do hope you come and join. Just going back to the spiders here, folks, you can see still pulling off that level there on the charts. Now, this market has remained very, very strong here, and the bullish sentiment is out there. Again, everyone I talk to on the street, every pro trader out there, at least the guys that aren't necessarily technical, are very bullish. Some of the other guys are a little mixed, so you got to be careful here, as a lot of the Wall Street is positive now. Also, you have a lot of amateurs becoming positive, finally dumping 401k money in, and that's continuing the ball rolling to the upside. The question is, again, which way does this market go? Is it going to start to pull back? Is it going to be more of a big pullback, or is it just going to be a little bit of an uptick and then a pullback, uptick, pullback, uptick, pullback type scenario? A big event is on the horizon, guys. We're talking about something coming up in the next couple weeks you have to be aware of in the coming weeks. So please understand, you got some cycles coming to fruition here in the ways that we discussed last night in the premium video for our premium subscribers. You really need to know this stuff. Going to be big. You can see from our intraday levels how accurate they are. These levels are all in our charts for our premium members in the chat room at night in the videos, and you have to look at them and understand where they're coming from and utilize them, and we explain it all. We try and teach it all. Have a wonderful rest of the day, folks. Keep an eye on the light volume in this market. We'll watch the levels as always. Take care.